Welcome back to Taekook Forever. Have you ever felt like a scene was intentionally shown, but a brief moment that was almost missed, a small smile, a warm gaze, or a spontaneous gesture that felt so sincere? The first day of BTS's concert always presents unexpected surprises. But this time, the main spotlight is really on the two members who never fail to steal the spotlight, Taehyung and Jungkook. From the beginning of the performance, the energy of the two immediately felt different, more intense, more emotional, and full of chemistry that made the audience can't look away.
Yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought.
BTS's Arirang World Tour concert in Tampa really turned into a sea of emotions when two of the most attention-grabbing members, Kim Taehyung and Jeon Jungkook, showed chemistry that are hard to ignore. From the moment the concert began, ARMY's cheers were different, louder, more hysterical, and full of enthusiasm. Fan cams that are widely circulated show how the small moments between Taehyung and Jungkook actually took center stage throughout the night. Not only when they were in the middle of the stage, but also when the lights dimmed between songs, during transitions, even when the other members were talking. Fan cameras capture details that are often missed by official cameras. One of the moments that made the stadium rumble the most was when Taehyung approached Jungkook from behind during a break in the performance.
I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken. I got patience. One day at a time.
Without many words, the two were seen exchanging smiles that immediately triggered a long shout from the audience. ARMY's reaction in the stands was clearly heard on various fan cams, shouts that weren't just because of the music, but because of the warm interaction that felt so natural. When the upbeat song played, Jungkook was seen several times glancing at Taehyung with a small smile, as if sharing a private moment in the midst of thousands of spectators. Taehyung was also caught on camera waiting for Jungkook several times before walking to the next position. These small movements may seem simple, but in the eyes of fans, they all feel meaningful. In the ending section, when the members greeted the audience, Taehyung stood very close to Jungkook. Even in one of the fan cams, Jungkook can be seen leaning slightly towards Taehyung when they waved to ARMY. This moment immediately went viral because it was considered one of the sweetest interactions throughout the concert in Tampa. The atmosphere in the stadium that night was truly extraordinary. Every time the big screen camera highlighted Taehyung and Jungkook in one frame, the audience's voices immediately increased dramatically. It was as if the entire stadium agreed that their togetherness was the highlight of the concert. Fan cams from various angles prove one thing: Taehyung and Jungkook's interaction doesn't happen once or twice, but repeats throughout the concert. From start to finish, the two seem to always be in the same radius, paying attention to each other, and sharing energy on stage. The Arirang World Tour concert in Tampa is remembered not only for BTS' spectacular performances, but also for the Taekook moments that were clearly captured by fan cameras. For ARMYs who watched live and via fan cam, the night was one of those unforgettable nights, full of music, emotions, and sweet interactions that made hearts tremble. Not only on the main stage, the moment of Taehyung and Jungkook was also clearly captured when they walked to the side of the stage to greet the audience in the side stand. In several fan cams, it can be seen that Kim Taehyung had slowed his steps, looking back to ensure Jeon Jungkook followed behind him. The small gesture again provoked a long shout from ARMY, who was aware of the detail. When the interaction session with the audience took place, Jungkook was seen throwing a big smile at Taehyung after hearing the reaction of the increasingly boisterous audience. Taehyung also replied with his characteristic ignorant expression, making the atmosphere at the Tampa Stadium even warmer and livelier. The chemistry between the two seemed to flow without being made up. One of the most viral fan cams shows the moment when the music pauses and the members prepare for the next song. In between the transitions, Taehyung stands very close next to Jungkook, then the two are seen talking briefly while chuckling. There is no microphone to capture the conversation, but their expressions are enough to make the audience speculate and smile happily. Throughout the Arirang World Tour concert, the same pattern kept repeating. Where there was Taehyung, there was Jungkook not far away. Even as the formation changed according to the choreography, the two were back in close positions several times when the song ended. This was clearly recorded in various angles of the fans' camera. Towards the end of BTS's concert, the atmosphere became more emotional. The stage lights dimmed, the members walked slowly around the stage for the last time that night. In this moment, Taehyung and Jungkook walked side by side for quite a long time, waving together towards ARMY. The audience's screams peaked again, as if they didn't want the night to end. For many of the ARMYs who attended in person and watched via fan cam afterward, the concert in Tampa wasn't just about set lists, live vocals, or grand stage layouts. What left the most impression were the natural moments between Taehyung and Jungkook, the unscripted interactions captured honestly by the fans' cameras. Fan cams that night became an archive of memories that fans around the world continue to replay. Every corner of the video brings new details that were previously missed, making Taekook's moments in Tampa feel revived every time they are watched. And in the end, the Arirang World Tour concert in Tampa is remembered as one of those nights where music, emotion, and togetherness blend perfectly, with Taehyung and Jungkook as the center of attention that kept the stadium hysterical all night. The euphoria turned out to be not really over even after the last song was finished. As confetti began to fall and the closing music played slowly, the BTS members were still on stage to give their last greeting. It was at this moment that the fan cam again captured the small details that made ARMY in Tampa cheer loudly again. Kim Taehyung was seen standing while watching the audience on the left side of the stage, while Jeon Jungkook was a few steps behind him. Shortly after, Jungkook walked over and stood almost evenly. The two waved towards the same stand, as if unconsciously choosing a side-by-side position for the closing greeting. One corner of the fan cam shows Taehyung turning his head to Jungkook for a moment, then smiling before looking back at the audience. ARMY's reaction immediately broke out. The screams echoed again, even though the stage lights had started to dim, a sign that the concert was really about to end. When the members started to walk away from the stage, Taehyung and Jungkook seemed to step in the same tempo. Not in a hurry, not ahead of each other. They walked side by side for a long time until they finally entered the backstage. That simple moment actually became one of the clips that was most repeated by fans. What made the Arirang World Tour concert feel different that night wasn't the big action or dramatic interactions, but rather the series of small gestures that happened repeatedly throughout the event. From start to finish, Taehyung and Jungkook's presence on stage seemed to have an invisible thread that kept them at the same distance. Fan cams from that night are now widely circulated on social media, analyzed frame by ARMY trying to capture every detail of the interaction. Many have called the Tampa concert one of the most iconic Taekook nights during the tour. In the end, what is remembered from the night is not just the spectacular performance, the magnificent lighting, or the stable live vocals. What left the most impression on the audience's hearts was how these two figures, Taehyung and Jungkook, were able to create warm moments that felt sincere in the midst of the roar of a large-scale concert. Tampa witnessed how music, emotion, and togetherness come together in one unforgettable night. And for ARMY, Taekook's fan cam from the concert will always be a piece of memory worth playing over and over again. Thank you for watching to the end, Taekook Forever lovers. If you also feel that Jungkook and Taehyung really gave an amazing performance, don't forget to support this video by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let us know in the comments section which moments of appearance from the Face era give you goosebumps. See you in the next video.